obviously, like, this world is a horrible, dark, unfair place. Obviously, Dracula exists.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you okay? I need to get out of a toxic relationship.
How are you guys? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Doing great.
Hi, I'm Cristina. I'm Mika Salas from Fuera, Foco. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I really loved your movie and I really loved your character. It's amazing. Thank you so much for your work.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I really love that Renfield is a love comedy horror movie. And can I ask you, how different is preparing a movie that blends genre conventions from other with a more straightforward mindset?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that was a really cool thing about filming Renfield and like getting into the character, because you did feel this kind of like privilege to go funny, and like, you know, there's something that's not very serious and kind of cheeky about the whole vibe of it, but then there's also like a lot of things at stake and there is a lot of serious material. So, you know, and maybe one of the first movies I've done with those kinds of genre bending themes that I did, and it was really interesting and really fun.
And one of my favorite things was how you explored the idea that vampires are really good metaphor for toxic relationships. Why do you think fantasy and science fiction are such good vehicles to tackle controversial or difficult topics?
Well, it's been part of it is because, like, you know, the spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. When you're trying to sort of get a big idea across, sometimes it's more fun to get it across in a movie that's got, you know, all of the stuff we love about, you know, science fiction or horror, fantasy genre. I think that, you know, in the case of like the universal monsters, you know, there's a lot, you know, and especially vampires over the years. If you look at all the different things that vampires have stood for, and the filmmakers have smuggled in ideas, whether it's addiction, you know, the vampire has been used for addiction or for, you know, outside, you know, the norm relationships and things like that. I think that, you know, there's been a rich history of you know, LGBTQ associations with vampires, because they are, you know, they live forever and they have, you know, multiple different relationships and that kind of thing. And I think I think in our movie, you know, we talk about Dracula being a narcissist and a toxic narcissist, and narcissism, you know, is delusions of grandeur and the need for constant affirmation and a lack of empathy. What better character to be, you know, to be a classic narcissist than Dracula? He's like the quintessential narcissist in film and literature, and you know, it seemed really ripe. And I think that's what was really great about Robert's treatment and Ryan Ridley's script, is he really understood that and kind of brought that to the surface, and that creates a great vulnerable character in Renfield, and a guy who's got a big mountain to climb from a storytelling standpoint, a conflict standpoint. So created a really rich dynamic.
How did you prepare for this role? Were you thinking how Rebecca's could add to the Dracula's lore, or can you tell me some of your inspirations for your character?
I feel like for Rebecca, it's a different character than I play normally, because she's more of like the straight guy, you know, and she's really fueled by anger. She wants justice, and I think that she's really also disillusioned. Like, she's the type of person that, upon finding out that Dracula exists, is not going to freak out. You know what I mean? I feel like she's felt like she's seen enough that whole thing is like, well, obviously, like, this world is a horrible, dark, unfair place. Obviously, Dracula exists, and she kind of deals with that with logic. So I really enjoy that. And I think to prepare, the hardest part was for me, because I'm not very physically like agile, was because she's a traffic cop. So like preparing to like move like a traffic cop, and like training, like, you know, like how to like move like a cop. So that was one thing that was like different for me.
Can you please tell me how hard it is to do a research in such a big topic like Dracula, to kind of create your own mythos, your own additions for Renfield?
I mean, I actually don't consider it to be difficult. I think getting to interact with the character, getting to work with the character is a gift. I think that there's something really unique about Dracula in that you can do so much with him while still maintaining what it is that makes Dracula Dracula and keeps Dracula cool. And so there's a lot of latitude to that character because so much has been done with him. And so, you know, building a new world around him and you know, adding new elements to his mythos is a tremendous honor, and it's something that, was a lot of fun. And I think the excitement about that and the excitement of being a small part of the Universal Monsters legacy kind of drove that and made it a joy and wasn't difficult at all.
I really like her, and because I'm a really fan of your work in general. This is a character that has a really different type of comedy from what you have been done. Can you tell me precisely how did you balance Rebecca's anger to create this physical comedy, but also that she is really an awkward person that doesn't belong with the people around her?
Well, I think that being angry constantly is sometimes a form of comedy. If you're perpetually angry and grumpy and wanting to kick things, I feel like that there is something funny about that, because it is a little needless, But I also think that the thing that tied me from the anger to when she wants to do right, I think, and this might sound a little corny, but I think it's love. You know what I mean? I think a love for what she's doing, a love for and wanting to protect her new friend and also her family. So there's a lot of things that are driving her anger and the comedy, and also why she ends up kind of wanting to help out in some way.
Thank you so much for your answers. I think the movie is amazing, and I really loved Rebecca. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I love your giant Lego Batman in the back of here.
I'm such a big fan. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I am Dracula.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.